It turns out Dan was a leader in his room, so he's cutting and pasting himself, right, Dan?
Yes, that is exactly what's happening. But if everybody takes about 30 seconds more, we should be able to get all this in here. All right. So Anne Marie. I think the folks that are posting and pasting, I believe we're in good shape now. So Anne Marie, if you want to share some insights from today, some closing remarks, and then I will close it out when you are all done.
Terrific. Thanks so much, Dan. I want to thank everyone for being here today. I think we've come a long way towards charting the innovation path to economic growth, economic recovery from COVID. We opened with Jim Bullard. He's very bullish. He was actually, Jim Bullard's actually very bullish. He doesn't seem to feel the imperative for growth that I would have expected. And I think part of that stems from the fact that the cost of debt is so low these days. From the RQ50 firms, we learned that things that make them high RQ or the sense of purpose. I think that's hard to wrap our arms around. People, we saw some concrete examples of what that actually means. In the case of Dow, they retain their commitment to the PhD pipeline through all cycles of the economy. And interestingly, that makes them better off during the down cycles because other firms are not hiring at that time. I think they were modest in many regards. But they gave us some other more specific examples of things that they did. So in the case of Dow, there was the example of the high throughput research. And what I find most interesting about them is the fact that they have a digitized database of all the research projects they've ever conducted, I think going back to the 30s. And so anyone doing research on a related project immediately goes first to that database to find out what's going on. They also, the RQ50 firms had insights for policy. So there was a sense that we didn't need to worry quite so much about secrecy, which has implication for patent law, and maybe a little less attention to antitrust in terms of their collaborating with their customers. Academic insights, you need to actually, this is from Chad Severson, you actually needed to be at the frontier to benefit from the work that's being done at the frontier. So that's a firm implication. A policy implication is that in the case of pharmaceutical acquisitions, we see that 6% of them are actually fodder for antitrust. So that will fuel the current antitrust fire, I think. And then I think the newest insight is this one of paying attention to the demand side that we saw from Willie Shih. And I think that that helps to explain why we've been so successful with COVID research. Investor insights, one is if firms are doing buybacks, it's because they don't have opportunity. I can just add to that, it turns out that the firms that were doing buybacks were actually already overspending on R&D given their optimal RQ. And then finally from Jamie, I think the main takeaways would be to read Vannevar Bush's report from 1945. That seems to still be relevant. And more importantly, it looks like we should be reading China's Science and Technology Strategy Report for 2020 or for 2050, right? Which he believes we will actually accomplish, I think, sooner than, or they will accomplish that sooner than that. So I want to thank all our speakers. I want to thank Evan and Panos and Andy for all their help putting this together. And I want to thank Dan for being my co-host and all of you, of course, for attending.
Well, thanks. Thank you very much, Anne Marie. Thanks to the presenters, the panelists, the fireside chats. You all did a fantastic job. And especially the audience. You're obviously the ones who implement the ideas. I think the value of a conference is to stir thinking. And I believe that this conference stirred a lot of thinking, a lot of tremendous thinking on 4 key aspects of innovation. I was in a breakout room and the conversation was very lively on many, many different topics that were brought up this morning. Sorry we couldn't get to all your questions during the conference, but all the questions with the answers will be posted to the Boeing Center LinkedIn page by the end of next week. We will send you an email and let you know when those are up. So sincerely, I hope you all have a great weekend. Thanks for a great conference, and take care.